welcome to Disney A, the Canadian-themed Disney travel podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta.
So this week,
Yep.
time is a circle. Oh, no, wait, that's a different intro.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Loki.
Well, for some, time is a circle.
Right. Yeah, no, I can't pull off Tom Hiddleston being all
Introspective.
introspective and intellectual. No, I can't do it.
He's pretty well.
I got the hair almost,
yeah,
though.
you do. You gotta have it going on. It's not black, though.
No. Maybe that's a Halloween costume idea.
That'd be perfect, actually. Yeah, you built in. I like it. We're talking Loki. We, as promised, we gave you a little bit to get caught up. So consider this your official big spoiler warning. Although, if you haven't watched Loki yet,
Shame.
Yeah,
no, full spoilers, and it's only 6 episodes. Come on.
Yeah. Pause, go watch it, and come back.
And you should also, 7 episodes, because you should watch the behind the scenes. I think that's the best one yet.
I was really good, actually. I really like that one, yeah. I think I agree with you. Of course, Tom Hiddleston, narrates a lot of it, so that's probably why.
Yes. Okay, but before we get to that, I think we should take care of some weekly business that we always do. So, Krysta, what nerd thing are you up to this past week?
Well, on Friday, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. to watch the opening ceremonies of the Olympics.
Yeah, and you also woke me up to watch the opening ceremonies at 4:30 a.m. on a work day. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine.
It was fine. It was they're dealing with the pandemic, so it is what it is, and I thought they did fine with what they could do.
Yeah, the Olympics are always exciting. It's the time change this time, of course, is a little tough.
Yeah.
It's not too bad though. You start getting events around 3 p.m.
Eastern, yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern, I think they start.
Or so we get most of the afternoon where we can watch stuff live, and it's not too bad. But yeah, the whole pandemic situation is another issue. But anyway,
it's all right. But we like the Olympics.
Super fun nerd thing.
We like the Winter Olympics more.
Yes,
but we still like the Olympics.
Yeah, Olympics is just a good feel good time.
Yeah.
There's lots of little cool stories. I watched a 18-year-old from Tunisia win a gold medal in swimming.
Really?
Beat the pants off some American and Australian favorites because they're, of course, the swimming powers.
Of course.
And yeah, it was this
from Tunisia.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
And the commentators were like, "Whoa, if he swims really good for these last 2 lengths, he might get a medal." Nope.
He won gold.
Bam, gold. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
I love stuff like that too. That makes me really happy, actually. Yeah. What about you?
Well, yes, I've been watching the Olympics as well, and but we also started watching the new documentaries on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Behind the Attraction.
Yeah. What do you think of those?
I think they're awesome.
I really like them too.
So, and we were sitting there watching them, and I was like, "Hey, this really reminds me of this Netflix documentary series that we've watched, the toys that made us, and the movies that made us." And yeah, sure enough, it's the same creative team.
Yeah, they have. This is just their next one.
Very distinctive style.
Yes, and I like that. I read a couple just articles about or blog posts about it, and some people love that style. Some people hate that style for the attractions, and of course, a lot of the critiques that I read were it's too lighthearted for all the serious art that goes into it. And I'm like, take a breath here, people.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a theme park that is supposed to be fun. So
I mean, it fits movies. Movies, you could say the exact same thing for, right? So I like it. I think the tone is good for it.
Yeah, and it still has good information in it. And if you want something a little more serious, watch the Imagineering story, which is more serious, that was really good too.
It was really good. I think a lot of people were expecting the Imagineering story, and then they got more like the Toys That Made Us. So that's their problem. Yeah. I like it. I think it bridges the two. My favorite part about the whole thing is all of the the Disney Legends interviews and things like that get to come up. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. No, I think it's super fun. I had another nerd thing. I totally forgot about. I got a new Loungefly bag.
You could just record that and play it once a week, probably at this rate.
I do not get one once a week.
I got a new Loungefly bag. I got a new Loungefly bag.
So basically, you're saying cycle between Animal Crossing, Loungefly bags, and Nuimos.
Yeah.
Cycle it.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't buy more Nuimos, did you?
No, I did not. Just a Loungefly bag. No, I was at Hot Topic, and we don't get all of the Hot Topic releases that the States does, and I didn't think this one was available in Canada, and it was released on Ice Cream Day, and it's the Mickey Mouse with the ice cream cone, so it was really cute, and I didn't have a Mickey one yet, so yeah.
Oh boy!
Well done. Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's good for summer. Mm-hmm. That's what you're going to take on the road trip?
I was thinking it. I might take 2 and alternate, but because this one has ears that stick out and stuff like that. So
right.
But yeah, I think it's going to be my primary one on the road trip.
Cute.
Yeah, definitely. Also, what are you drinking?
Well, we're doing a morning recording, so it's just ye old black coffee.
Yep, in giant Disney mugs actually.
Yes.
Which wasn't particularly on purpose, but let's pretend.
Disney Store.
Yeah. Mine as well. An authentic Disney Store original. Mine's a Tinkerbell. It's like a collage of Tinkerbell.
Oh.
And Peter Pan. And you have the oh no, it's a Winnie the Pooh one.
Yep.
Yeah. Aw, Piglet, so cute. I don't think Rabbit's on there.
Rabbit's not on there, and Kanga's not on there. Like, Tigger kidnapped Roo, I guess.
Tigger often kidnaps Roo. He's
that's
like
true.
the official babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then our last one is, we've been talking about each episode briefly about Loki. Of course, we're doing the whole episode this week on Loki. We have a new countdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
It's just going to keep coming.
Just keep going. So, What If is coming, and this episode's releases on Monday, which means it is 16 days until What If. So, yeah, that's our new countdown.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah,
I guess
that's cool.
When Thanos says, I am inevitable, he was talking about just, like, Marvel content.
Yeah, Marvel content is inevitable. And I think that brings us to the news. Disney A News Update. Hey, speaking of Marvel, guess what?
More Marvel.
More Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, big news item. More Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, we knew these
we could put that on a loop too, actually.
Basically. We knew these were coming, but they've reconfirmed that they will be coming this year, which...
Yeah, because there's kind of a question mark on, though, when these were coming. So, yep, they've reconfirmed by the end of the year. We don't have a specific date, at least not as of recording this. Probably will by this tonight when we...
I am assuming that the Book of Boba Fett is going to be the last new content for the year on Disney Plus, like in December. Like the old Mandalorian release slot. So I would assume these will be before that.
Which surprises me that we haven't heard about this yet then, because we have What If going, like we said, that starts here mid-August. How are we squeezing in Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel?
Yeah, they can take a week break in between the two and just plow them right out there.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why it's the year of Marvel.
Well, slight spoiler, but we did get a tie-in to Hawkeye in the Black Widow credits. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I don't know. I'm anxious about that. So we've got fall, I'm assuming, or maybe, I don't know, September, November. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. Those two by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't know how many episodes What If is, and... Yes.
I'm assuming they're not going to overlap Marvel content. Maybe they'll have... Would it be weird to overlap Marvel and Boba Fett, though?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're going to squeeze it in. They must have a big calendar with circling days.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Much less happy news. More Disney stores are closing. They've got... I think we're going to have...
They're all closing.
Well, they are all closing, but now it's been... Which we knew, but it hadn't been confirmed. It's now been confirmed. So, like, for example, in Canada, every Disney store, except I think 3 of them in Ontario, have been listed as closing, and it's projected they will as well. Just those leases have been extended further.
Right. No, they're gonna close all the Canadian Disney stores.
They're closing most of the United States physical ones too.
Right. It's just a different world now. You don't need to spend that kind of money on a physical location. You can do better with the Amazon model.
Yeah, and it is sad. I like going in there. It is a little bit of Disney magic. And I feel, of course, I always feel for the cast members. I mean, those are local cast members, right? Well, a couple hours away that are losing jobs and everything. But as far as we've complained before about, it's really prohibitive to order online. And that's their whole thing. They say, just order online. Well, not if you're not in the States. because we have to order from the States. You not only have, I mean, your exchange rate is one thing, that's just a fact, but there's duty and there's shipping, and all those happy free shipping things do not happen out of country and all that stuff. But it looks like they are moving towards having some other Canadian or international aspect. So I'm perfectly fine with it if they build a proper Canadian website that's in Canadian dollars and that ships from a Canadian warehouse. Yeah, that's totally fine. So, well, we'll see what happens. You probably aren't too disappointed that I'm not shopping quite so much.
I don't mind. I think we should save money for a real Disney trip.
Yeah, that's true. That is fair. I'm like, that's okay. I'll just buy it in Disneyland instead. And so I sandwiched the sad news in between two happy items. So we had more Marvel content. Speaking of more content coming, the Jungle Cruise movie is releasing soon, like this week soon. Yeah. So, and to celebrate that, this was kind of cool. So they're having the premiere at Disneyland itself, which is awesome. And of course, the new Jungle Cruise had just opened up, or the revamped Jungle Cruise had just opened up, and everything like that. But I was on Instagram, and the crowds at Downtown Disney were crazy. And then it turns out that's because Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, brought his food truck to Downtown Disney to help celebrate the premiere or the upcoming Jungle Cruise film, and he was distributing French toast and tequila.
That's a strange combination.
No. Well, I was looking at his menu, and it's basically he does these French toast sticks and then 2 different types of margaritas. And so everyone's like,
I mean, I like both of those things. I don't think they go together.
This is such a weird combination.
I really like both of those things.
I don't like one of those things, but I like French toast.
You don't mind margaritas. You don't.
If it's a good margarita, I don't mind a margarita.
Tequila can be a little sketchy for you, but margaritas are
good. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, The Rock made his name by being a promoter.
Yeah.
That's what he was really, really good at when he was a wrestler.
Well.
And so, it makes sense.
He's continuing along with that. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting. So the premiere is going on and happening, and I don't think we're going to watch this movie right away. I don't know. Maybe we'll squeeze it in. We'll see. We've got a busy couple weeks here coming up.
Yeah, we've got our big trip to prep for, and still have some stuff to book. Write that down as a note later.
So we'll see. There's not a theater right here in town, so it's always a drive to go somewhere.
And so this one they're only releasing in theaters. Yes. There's no premiere.
Exactly.
Access.
If it was premiere, I would say let's do it that way. So
yeah. Interesting.
I do want to watch it though.
Well, you talked about the Jungle Cruise. They have a bunch of merch for it as well. You were really excited by the new water bottle.
That was amazing. I've never wanted a water bottle so bad in my whole life.
And it's like a fancy water bottle that they sell for other things as well. But yeah, they use one of the most famous puns from the ride. The backside of water. Yeah. They have the whole spiel with like the Eighth Wonder of the World, the stupefying magnet. Yeah, the whole thing is on the water bottle.
On the back of it, so you can see it through the water.
It's see-through, and the art on it is really cute as well. Cute art style.
It's kind of like a vintage, kind of really funky art style. I actually like that whole merch line, but of course the water bottle is like, oh my goodness. Bottle. That's the thing I want the most.
And then the other really cool merch thing is they were selling Dole Whip banana split or pineapple splits.
Yes.
But I think there might have been banana in there if you wanted. Anyway, but you could get the bowl to be like a Jungle Cruise boat with the smokestack as the spoon.
Isn't that amazing?
It was pretty cool.
I also really wanted that, but obviously you can't get that. But it looked so good because I'm a huge pineapple fan and I love banana splits. And I was like, you're just basically combining 2 of the best things in the world. So, in an awesome, awesome boat. You would not have gotten it.
Yeah, I can't do pineapple.
Yeah, I would have eaten it all myself. That's fine.
Like Dole Whip looks really good, like a nice flavored soft serve.
Which they have other. Yeah.
So I will try other flavors. Like the raspberry one looks really good.
Yeah, that one looks
Stuff
good.
like that. But yeah, no, I can't do pineapple. It does not work for my palate.
Yeah, like tequila and me. But yeah, that was a really cool merch item.
But
I like that.
Yeah, so big week for Jungle Cruise, I guess, is the main news.
And you were talking about Behind the Attraction. That's actually episode 1. Is all about the Jungle Cruise, which was really interesting.
They're having some very good corporate synergy around that.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's the news, and that'll take us to our main topic this week. But we should probably take a quick little break for some ads for our friends at Magic of the Mouse Radio.
Yeah.
Disney Plus and chill.
All right, so like we said, top of show, spoilers ahead, lots of them, no holds barred. Yeah, because time is a loop.
Yeah, it's something.
It's something. We're talking about Loki, all about Loki. So before we get too far into this, let's just do a very quick crash course on what the show's about. 6 episodes. We get almost 6 hours of Loki. Glorious purpose Loki.
Yeah, well, so we were watching the behind the scenes thing, and somebody calculated it, and Loki had he's been in a whole bunch of movies, obviously, villain and anti-hero.
Yeah.
But he's only been on screen for maybe 2 hours total.
Which is crazy. Because people love him.
Yeah.
And by people, I also mean me.
But he was always a side character,
yeah.
right? So this way we get to spend a whole bunch of time.
Yep.
With some other new characters that are very important as well. But yeah, lots of Loki.
Tons of Loki, which is awesome. So this one takes place during Endgame when he gets the Tesseract.
Yes.
And we had left that open. We all knew something was going to come up with Loki, and he just disappears. And it's supposed to be throwing the wrinkle into the whole Avengers plan of taking those Infinity Stones and everything like that. Then they have to recalculate and try something different. But it was just left. We didn't know what happened to him. We knew he did something. We knew he went somewhere. It's a big question mark. This is basically filling in that question mark.
Yeah, and it picks up right from that moment.
Yep. In fact, it starts with that moment.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is the whole character arc where you see his redemptive everything basically has all been erased now.
Yeah.
And you go right back to where he was at the end of being the villain in Avengers.
Yeah.
So that's where we're starting. Mm-hmm. So all of that, that connection he ended up having with Thor and his self-sacrifice, it's all gone. Yeah. We don't get the mature Loki anymore.
Yeah, he's starting from scratch. He's 2012 Loki, so
yeah,
we get to kind of go through a more detailed character development arc, I guess.
In a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have, I also liked the titles of each of the, well, maybe not as much as the WandaVision ones, but I did like the titles of each of the 6 episodes. The first one was Glorious Purpose, of course, in reference to Loki's, catchphrase.
It's his catchphrase, for sure.
And then there was The Variant, Lamentus, The Nexus Event, Journey into Mystery, and For All Time, Always. But I just really like the starting with Glorious Purpose. So we knew that this is the first thing that came out on a Wednesday. And when Tom Hiddleston as Loki announced it would be coming on Wednesday, it was kind of done as, well, he's a trickster, he throws everything off. This makes sense. Did you know that there's actually other reasons?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I am. So it premiered on Wednesday, then June 9th, and the date is actually significant to Norse myth, is why. So Wednesday is known in ancient Britain as Woden's Day, as in Odin's Day.
Yes, I actually did hear that as well when they announced it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. And the number 9 is a special number in Norse mythology because there's the 9 realms. Apparently, Odin hung from a tree for 9 days to gain wisdom. So they took a Wednesday and the 9.
Similar to how in Christianity 7's a big deal. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so there was a reason besides the whole trickster thing. Of course, what happened then is everyone tuned in for Loki. So now Disney's like, cool, everything's coming out on Wednesdays now.
No, they like Wednesday for some reason. I think it maybe spreads out the week, the streaming a little bit. I don't know. Whatever the case, everything's Wednesday now.
Yeah, which is interesting because different things do have habits of being released on certain days. But books are usually released on Tuesdays.
Media is often released on Tuesdays. I believe that dates back to delivery issues, so they could deliver start shipping out on Sunday, let's say, and have Monday to have it delivered, so that's in the physical retail store for the Tuesday.
That makes sense, actually.
Street date, because books and movies and video games all very, very common to be released on a Tuesday, and in some cases I've ordered online and gotten a video game on Monday because they shipped it out early, so that would be there for Tuesday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, of course, usually theatrical releases are Fridays or Thursday nights, I guess, for the weekend.
They've stretched that one out to Thursday evening.
So apparently Disney Plus is now Wednesday. Good job, Loki, just changing everything with your craziness.
Well, yeah, he's changed that, and he's changing the whole universe.
Exactly. Yeah, he really is. He really is. That first episode was the most watched series premiere for the Disney Plus so far, more than Mandalorian, more than WandaVision, and more than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not surprising at all.
No,
And the finale was also, it was more watched than WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier as well.
Cool.
Yeah. It was originally meant to follow Loki popping up throughout human history as an unlikely influence on historical events, and that was kind of how it was advertised. Did you notice that?
Yeah, well, the whole D.B. Cooper
especially that
thing got me really intrigued, and it was kind of just a throwaway gag, which is fine. But I would have liked to see that a little bit.
I would have liked them to like lean into it a little bit more, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can still do this big story, but have more of those moments instead of just something they did for an ad, basically, to throw people off.
Yeah.
Instead, though, it is a direct link to overall storytelling, and especially the upcoming films. Well, basically the whole phase. I'm thinking, yeah.
Which is a big deal. I'm sure we'll talk about this more later.
I thought we'd talk about like the episodes a little bit more, and we could talk about that.
But it's a big deal.
Yeah, it really is. So this one links directly into Doctor Strange and Ant-Man. It's kind of the one that if you're not watching this, you're gonna get lost. Mm-hmm. So you probably need to watch this.
Okay, maybe I'll just say it now.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, say it.
Both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier had some good character development, and you learn some details about it. But the characters aren't in really that much of a different place, story-wise, plot-wise, from where you left them at the end of Endgame. Wanda's still in horrible grief and maybe evil, you don't know, but that's where she was at the end of Endgame. Like, right. there's more background to it now, and there's a white Vision kicking around. So
and you have other moments and things like that, but there's not a huge thing.
But if you hadn't watched WandaVision and you go into Doctor Strange and you see Wanda pop up, you're not going to be like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah, you might have a couple questions, but it's not going to throw you.
And the same, Sam becomes Captain America, but at the end of Endgame, he's given the shield. So it's like, it's not like a huge logical leap for you to fill in those blanks as someone who's just watched the movies. This one, no.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could maybe, but like, no, it's huge.
Yeah, you would be missing. There would be a lot of gaps for you to be Googling, basically.
Yes.
And like important gaps more so than quantity. Yeah.
So I really like this series. It was the one I was looking most forward to. It is the least self-contained, for better or worse.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit like there's some really good moments and like great acting and some pretty good action and special effects as well. But it is Exposition, the series.
It's true. And when we talk about the episodes and everything like that, you mentioned that the 6th episode especially is like they're sitting and talking for like half an hour, basically.
Yeah, for the first and last episodes, they do a lot of sitting and talking, which some people probably really didn't like.
I didn't mind it,
but it was done well in both cases,
and it makes sense for the overall.
It makes sense, but yeah, it's definitely Exposition, the series.
Yeah, I like that. Is that our title for this week? So, just overall, this is a very well praised show. Let's start there. So, especially the chemistry between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, Tom Hiddleston's chemistry with everyone is amazing. Let's just say that.
He just seems like a nice guy to hang out with his little British accent.
He's so smart and so nice. But yes, everyone loved the chemistry between the two of them.
And the thing about Tom Hiddleston is he absolutely loves playing Loki.
Yeah.
And like that comes across, especially in that documentary.
Yeah.
It's like it's his pet project. It's his life's work, and he's done like Shakespeare and all this stuff, but
multiple times.
he loves Loki.
Loves Loki. Well, so I've read articles and things like that. Like I teach Shakespeare, Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of Loki. He says he approaches Loki like he does a Shakespearean character. Specifically Edmund from King Lear. He says no, he was like thinking about him as this, like the depth he brings to him. Like he takes it very seriously. A lot of actors in the MCU is like, I get to be a villain, I get to be a superhero, and they're just going to have fun with it. Whereas it's like, you know, it kind of reminds me, but less crazy. Is Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
Right? Where Johnny Depp just leaned into it and he's like, this is his
absolutely embraces it as like, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. He went a little nuts with it.
I mean, he's Johnny Depp. He's
so
a little nuts, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
He loves it.
No, it's great.
We've mentioned a couple times about the new Assembled show. Strongly recommend watching this. Like, I did make a note here to recommend that, but really, really watch it. It's awesome, and it's very watchable too. Like, it's not a dry documentary or anything like that.
No, they have some good cast interactions and in interviews, and it's pretty much led by Tom himself, which is different than the other two.
Yeah.
They were more like a standard documentary, behind the scenes documentary, whereas this is like Tom saying, "Here, come look at this show we made," and and here's the director that helped, and here's the cast that helped, and
here's me talking to them all, and So just while we're talking about that, it was actually in the Assembled show, and just talking about how much Loki loves, Tom Hiddleston loves Loki, and when Owen Wilson was cast as Mobius, usually when someone new comes into the MCU, they're like, here are all the comics you need to read, right? Or these are the ones we recommend, go read these comics. And he didn't do that. He didn't read a bunch of comics about it. He had Loki lectures. Tom Hiddleston sat him down and he'd just tell him all about Loki. He'd tell him all about like the character and the film so far. But then there's and then Owen Wilson would just ask questions about like Loki as a character, because he's also supposed to be an expert on Loki.
Right, yes. So that's the thing. He would have to be an expert on Loki. I mean, there's not going to be a ton of comics about Mobius. Like, he is a comic character and like is in important events and stuff, but you're not going to have Mobius issue #1 to to go research, right? So that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I just think it's cool that they would have like sat down, and I can just picture Tom Hiddleston being like, okay, here are some notes that I have for you on Loki, and just talking like a lecture about it. And I think that's really cool. And it just, again, speaks to how much Tom Hiddleston loves his character. Other things that were praised: the production design.
Oh yeah, that was a character in and of itself. I said that from episode 1, and it was so good. So
good. And what's your theory about how they should bring the production design into Disneyland? Because you have one.
I do?
Yes, you do. Tomorrowland.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did say that.
Yes, you did.
No, that's the style that they should have for Tomorrowland.
That like mid-century future, but
mid-century modernism with like the analog stuff. That's it would be so good.
And again, Assembled, they talked about this, like walking the line between making something really futuristic, but also like grounded in the past, but not making it historical. So I think it's awesome and timeless. Like, it works really well. And also the musical score, the lifting it did on the mood, and costuming was the other part.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool costumes.
I think they had a lot of fun with the variants with the costumes.
Yes, the Void episode with all the different Lokis definitely
absolutely
had some fun with that.
So I just have here a list of some of the influences, and then I thought we could talk more about the show specifically. Okay, so some of the influences: the sci-fi films Brazil, Metropolis, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Alien, Blade Runner, and Jurassic Park. The crime films The Silence of the Lambs, Seven, Zodiac, and Catch Me If You Can. The films of Quentin Tarantino. The action film Armageddon. The surreal kids show Teletubbies. The fantasy Toy Story. The adventure comedy Rick and Morty. And the dramas Mad Men and Before Sunrise. That's like a very varied list, I thought.
Especially when you got like Armageddon and Mad Men. Those are like pretty much on the opposite end of the spectrum of...
Right? But when you say that, if you've watched it, you're like, oh wait, actually kinda. Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
definitely the crime. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of Blade Runner for sure. Yeah, Blade Runner mixed with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. perfectly describes the tone, because they somehow managed to do that. I don't know how, because those are very different in tone as well.
I got very strong, especially the first couple episode Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy vibes. Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was just such a varied list that I was like, wow, okay. Put that in there. What did you think overall? Like, I don't like always comparing everything to the previous ones, but I think that makes sense.
I mean, what else are you going to compare it to?
Right, okay, fair. WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. Like, what are you thinking with this one overall?
All three are different.
Very.
WandaVision was the first, and was weird. And this is also weird. So they're more I think you would be comparing those two more so than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is your basic standard Marvel type of story. But like I say, WandaVision was more focused and self-contained.
Yes.
This doesn't work if it's not part of a larger interconnected cinematic universe at all. And that's a strength and also a weakness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to like rank the three, what do you think? Hard to do because they're so different. I totally understand that. And
I'm going to have to put a pin in this to see how it affects the two movies that it's going to be the three movies that it's going to be really deeply connected to.
Right.
So Doctor Strange, obviously, my favorite thing is the internet has taken to making a bunch of memes about Doctor Strange being totally stressed out and his life is ruined by Wanda and Loki.
What have you guys been doing?
Like, what? Come on, guys.
I'll leave you alone for 5 minutes. Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
There's some good ones, and poor Doctor Strange. He's gonna have to put the pieces all back together.
I've seen the one where it's a little cartoon, and he's talking to Wanda. He's like, "You did what?" And white fission's flying around, and then he looks at Loki, and Loki's hanging out there with alligator Loki. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" Yes. Okay, so just at this moment, which did you enjoy watching the most?
I think I probably WandaVision was a little longer, so you had more time to stew on on some of the mysteries and stuff. I think it did the mysteries better. Of course, there wasn't a satisfying conclusion to a lot of the mysteries either, so I don't know. I think yeah.
So cough there.
Well, I'm hoping now that we have a multiverse in existence for realsies, not Jake Gyllenhaal making fun of everyone. That this can have a payoff as well. Yeah. So, but I need to see what happens in the three. So you got Doctor Strange. Yeah. You got Ant-Man. Yeah. Quantumania. Yes. And Spider-Man 3. Yes. Are going to be heavily influenced by this Loki revelation, and I need to see what they do with those. Okay. Because if they do those well, then this is easily my favorite. Okay. But if it's kind of like brushed under the rug or whatever, and it's not as cool of a payoff as I'm hoping, then WandaVision is way better. Okay, cool. Yeah. I like it. Because this is Exposition, the series, it depends on what it's exposing. Okay, so 6 episodes. We've got the first couple, we're really setting up the Time Variant Authority. We're setting up Loki. We're setting up this Owen Wilson's Mobius character, things like that. Then the big stuff that happens. I just thought we'd talk about the big stuff that happens in this whole series. Okay. That, especially because if it's Exposition, the series, what are we being exposed to, basically? So we have now the Time Variant Authority. What is that? Well, it's like the Time Cops.
Yeah. Only works if you do that voice, though.
No Jean-Claude Van Damme, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Probably for the best. Probably, yeah. No, basically, I mean, this is from the comics as well, but they say that they're trying to keep the true timeline intact, and so if someone steps out of what's keeping that timeline going, then they have to prune them.
Yeah, they're variant.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is what the Tesseract portaling away at the beginning of the series is supposed to be, and then you kind of follow that and how their process goes. Right.
So Loki shows up, and right away we have a little bit of it's actually more than a little bit. It's quite a comedic moment where you have this bureaucratic situation
Oh yeah, that's the thing. The TVA is like super duper bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a funny way to look at time cops, I guess. And it's this like you said, a mid-century modernism place. They got sci-fi stuff going on, but they have these old school CRT monitor, like not even CRTs. They're like old steampunky tube monitors.
Yeah.
And it's very cool.
Very cool.
But they have such power that they have like infinity stones in their lost and found.
Yeah, that they use for paperweights.
Paperweights, yeah. So that kind of like makes you go, oh, okay.
This is a thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I really like that take on like that it's super bureaucratic. There's a whole lot of red tape. It's basically tons of paperwork and all of that kind of fun stuff. And then you have 2012 Loki getting thrown in there, and he's all, I am a god and everything like that. And they're like, neat. Go stand in line.
Yeah, go stand in line. Make sure you have your ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you? I don't know if you caught it in the assembled documentary.
Right.
The concept art for that room was very close to what actually happened, but they were going to have a whole bunch of people in line.
I did notice that.
And mostly they were going to be from Guardians of the Galaxy. They were going to have the Ravagers. Kind of Yondu's team and Rocket was in there.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not.
There's
notice
supposed to be a cameo of Rocket and some of the Ravagers and stuff. Yeah.
That's really cool. I can see like that would have been super cool as a cameo.
But it might have distracted from the point of the episode. Yeah.
Whereas instead there's a huge it's an almost completely empty room and he has to walk up and down the lines, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And so frustrating, especially to 2012 Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get, he meets the Owen Wilson character, Mobius, and some of the other ones that are involved with the TVA. I don't want to, like, summarize everything here, but he ends up becoming involved with them because they are searching for a variant of another Loki variant.
Another Loki. And he's like, wait, what?
Exactly. So that's kind of cool. And then we get... especially the connection with Mobius and Loki gets developed a little bit more, and he goes off with them to try and help them catch this other Loki variant because this Loki they have had no luck catching that individual at all. They're not only escaping, but they're actually pruning their time cops. Yeah, the time
cops. The time cops are getting killed by this other Loki, and so they're having no end of trouble with it. Okay. Let's talk about the new characters that this series introduces, because
there's a lot, but let's talk about some of the
the first couple episodes are like kind of like slapping you in the face with these new characters. Yes. So you talked about Mobius. That's Owen Wilson's character.
And Owen Wilson looks very different.
He does. In this. Well, he's got a wig.
Yes, and so Owen Wilson usually plays like laid back kind of.
Yeah, he's got a long curly hair type of thing almost every single role.
Yeah, but kind of looks like more like a surfer than a bureaucrat. Kind of like businessman type of thing. Did you know the gray wig that he had was his idea?
Okay, no.
Well, not necessarily that was gray wig, but they were having trouble kind of like trying to make him look so different.
Yeah.
And when he was on SNL, he played a character with a gray wig, and he's like, well, I had gray hair once, and it seemed to make me look weird. And so they gave him the gray wig, and it totally works.
Yeah, no, it totally works. He looks like your stereotypical like bad network TV cop show detective.
Yeah, exactly.
And that
suit doesn't quite fit right. Yeah. So okay, we've got Mobius and
Judge Renslayer.
Yes.
Is also from the comics.
Renata Renslayer, right?
Maybe, I don't know. She's fairly obscure character, but from the comics and very important to this series. She's like, so the TVA is broken into a hierarchy. And you got the judges, and then you got the, like, investigators.
Yeah.
And then you got the Minutemen, which are, like, your soldiers.
Yes.
And she's like, the highest up judge.
Yeah.
She's got the big fancy penthouse office. And stuff like that. And then you got the main, like, the Hunters, Minutemen.
Yeah.
The main one you get to follow around is B-20.
Okay.
And she was a pretty cool character.
She was actually really cool. I couldn't remember her name, but she's really cool.
I'm pretty sure it's B-20.
Okay.
Yes.
She's really cool.
Sure. Yeah, she's really cool. And then you got Miss Minutes.
Yes! I love Miss Minutes.
Who's kind of like a a clock version of Mr. DNA from Jurassic Park.
That was definitely trivia for you.
Oh. I just describe it. Okay, anyway, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't see how that is trivia, but that's fine. But you start to learn that she's not just a recording, and she is clearly sentient.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is super creepy because she can also traverse time and space instantaneously and knows everything.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
So, Miss Minutes, the real villain.
The real villain, Miss Minutes. But she's also awesome.
Oh, very cool character.
Yeah.
And then we do finally meet the other variant Loki.
Dun dun dun.
So you want to talk about this other variant Loki?
Okay, so our Loki goes on a quest to help find this other Loki. And there's big fight scene and everything like that. And the other Loki takes off the hood.
Yeah.
And it's a woman.
Gasp.
That was my gasp.
I just said gasp.
Oh. And so we do meet some other variant Lokis throughout, specifically in the Void.
Mm-hmm.
But we find that this one, she has taken to calling herself Sylvie. So this is Sylvie. And Sylvie is actually a character in the comics as well, but not a version of Loki. It's more like...
they've amalgamated Sylvie, which is like Loki's apprentice.
Right.
And Enchantress, which is sometimes Sylvie as well. Like, comics are weird.
Comics are weird, yeah.
So the amalgamating characters is not out of the range of what's normal. And yeah, it works.
Yeah, so she's kind of cool, basically. And then we have Loki and Sylvie kind of... They don't team up right away, but they kind of team up to...
Well, they're very Loki... They're both very Loki-y.
Yeah.
So they're, like, trying to further their own glorious purpose and will try and manipulate each other and...
But also are aware they're trying to manipulate each other because they're both... They love each other and hate each other, basically, is what happens, just because the same way Loki loves and hates himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very easy thematic discussion.
Definitely. Definitely. Could, like, analyze this in the university classes, basically. And so Sylvie's big purpose, she has not had a very good life. Most of her life, anyway.
Yes, the TVA showed up when she was like 6 or something.
Right, exactly.
And she's been on the run ever since.
And we find out that Renslayer is actually when she was a hunter,
boots on the ground hunter.
She's the one who arrested her,
Mm-hmm.
basically, as like a little 6-year-old, and has been hiding ever since then. So her big glorious purpose is to take down the TVA
and the time,
but the timekeepers at the top.
Timekeepers, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, and other Loki kind of comes along for the ride to further his own.
Yeah.
He always wants a throne, basically.
At least that's what you think he wants,
exactly.
Or that's what he thinks he wants.
But there's 6 episodes for him to change his mind. He's
got daddy issues, just like a lot of these Marvel people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have an episode called Daddy Issues. So, yeah, we meet Sylvie, and that's quite a big reveal. And then we get to see kind of their dynamic and chemistry play out as well. And it's basically an outward expression of how Loki, deals with himself.
Mm-hmm. He's learning to love himself. Literally.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Because they talk about being, perpetually lonely a lot. I mean, Sylvie has literally been living in, on the run apocalypse forever.
So, and that's what we find out. She's been on the run, and the TVA can't figure out why they can't find her, because she should be giving off this variant energy, and they should be able to find her really easy. But what she does is she goes to apocalypses.
Yeah.
Because everything gets blown up, so that she can't create any time branches or anything like that.
Because there's nothing branches off of something getting blown up.
So we get to spend an episode in an apocalypse, which I'm assuming is what you're talking about with Armageddon.
Yes.
It's like neon Armageddon, I guess. Yeah,
kind of. That was such a cool episode as well.
Yeah.
I think I remember watching it and just being like, whoa.
Because we've seen some weird alien stuff, especially in the Guardians films.
True.
And this was in that vein, but even weirder.
Yeah. And so that is another thing that we keep really, really saying, watch this assembled show, but they went into the making of the big scene in that specifically, which was really cool.
And I still think they used quite a bit of the Mandalorian technology, but for that main action sequence which they did shoot as a one-take style.
Yeah.
They built a gigantic set for it.
Yep, and they ran through the set, just like physically doing it.
And like on wire work and stuff, like
that's so cool.
Very old school, which like it helped with that feeling of the analog and all that, like. Yeah, so
it was actually interesting. They were talking about like some of the lighting choices and things like that, and they said like they wanted it to seem like you found this, like this film was shot on like old style film. Yeah, so I think, like you said, doing the old wire work and doing the physical work and stuff like that really made that seem more a piece of it. So we have kind of those kind of moments. We have these huge big action scenes as part of it. Then we have later, I guess the other big scene was when they end up in the void.
Well, so they're on this apocalypse planet and they're trying to escape, and it doesn't work so well.
No.
But they do. Mobius figures it out and comes in, rescues them / arrests them.
Yeah. So they're back at the TVA.
They're back at the TVA, and they kind of figure out how to break out and go find the timekeepers. And it's like the big climax of that episode is they find the timekeepers, and as soon as they walk in there, I'm like, oh, so this is a Wizard of Oz situation. Yeah. And you betcha it was.
Sure is, yeah.
Then the big shocker is that Loki gets pruned, which at that point we think he's dead again.
Yeah, I think I like screamed or something like that. Well, first of all, Mobius gets pruned.
Yes.
Right? And that was like, I was just, what? And then at the end, you have this moment where Loki is like embracing, he's got his hands on Sylvie's shoulders and he's trying to explain to her like his feelings, and it's more than just, it's not just like a romantic arc. I mean, there are definitely those elements in there, but because it's a version of himself, it's also like self-realization. Yeah,
and he's literally trying to trust himself.
Exactly. And as he starts to talk, he gets pruned.
Yeah.
And he's dead. We think he's dead.
Yeah.
But it's Loki, so yeah.
And then that's the only episode that had a post-credit,
which is crazy,
scene, which is kind of wild. But that's when we meet the other crazy variant Lokis in the void, and you were like, oh, he's not actually dead. Okay.
Yay! Yep. And so the post-credit scene happens as Loki actually wakes up, and he's being stood over by, I think, 4. Yes, 4 variants.
Yeah, you got big prideful Loki.
Yep.
Who in that documentary saying he's 6'6", and then had 2-inch boots
to make him bigger
on, and these giant shoulder pads. So he's a big guy.
Yeah, I think he's credited as boastful Loki. Is actually his thing.
And then you got Kid Loki.
Yep.
Which is also apparently a big comic book.
Right.
Arc. Interesting.
Which is cool.
And then you got old school Loki.
Yes.
Classic Loki.
Yeah, in the leotard.
in the full-on leotard. And then, blink and you'll miss it, Kid Loki's holding an alligator in his hands. That's also wearing Loki horns.
Here's alligator Loki. Because Disney wasn't making enough money off Baby Yoda stuff anymore, so let's bring in another merch piece.
Oh, they're going to have some sweet little alligator Loki plushies for sure.
Okay.
They better. Anyway.
I definitely want an alligator Loki plush. And also, you know what I really want? So you know how Loungefly does purses? I think a Loki alligator purse would be hilarious. Because you can do like alligator purses, but actually have it like a physical alligator with Loki horns.
Yeah, no, that would work. So then we get to spend an episode learning about what actually happens when you get pruned.
Yes.
And this is the big MCU action episode.
Right. So
with some major special effects.
Yep. This was episode 5, and you said it was your favorite episode you have seen.
I said that about episode 4.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that was episode 5.
No, I said it about episode 4 because like you learned more about the TVA, and they had the big twist of people getting pruned and stuff.
Okay.
That was my favorite, and then episode 5 was really good. Some really great special effects. Energy demon beast dog that's a big cloud, but it works better than the big cloud that Galactus was in the Fantastic Four 2 because the special effects are so good, and the character design is quite cool.
Yes.
They said they based it off of pyroclastic flows with lightning in them, and that's what it kind of looks like.
That is exactly what it looks like.
Purple lightning in this case, but Alioth is this energy eating
also great name
thing.
By the way.
Yeah, and you have all these Easter eggs in the background because
my goodness.
all this
I want to watch that in slow motion.
all the stuff that's gotten pruned over the years goes here, right? And then this Elias is supposed to eat it and get rid of it.
Right. So like you can actually die, but when you get pruned, you get sent to the void. And the void is like at the end of time, and then Elias eats it, and then you're dead. Mm-hmm. Right? But getting pruned doesn't necessarily mean you're dead. It's just you're going to end up dying.
It's kind of like time purgatory with a giant cloud that eats you.
Right. So Kid Loki says that they're all in the fish tank, and Elias is like is the shark in the fish tank. And so basically they're getting sent there to feed the shark.
Mm-hmm. So we learn about that. We meet a bunch of different Lokis, and they betray each other.
That was hilarious. I loved that scene. It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
And Sylvie ends up pruning herself as well to come save Loki.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was a little out of character.
Well, yes and no, because she comes to kind of help save Loki, but she's also figuring if she has a way to whoever is actually at the top, it's going to be through this.
Yes.
So it's all sort of further her own glorious purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So that made it a little less out of character.
No, I
didn't
mean out of character like weird. It was just like she did grow a little bit, but not really because
it was still to serve her own purpose. Yeah. So that makes sense. It's like, I will save you because I think you might help me. Mm-hmm. She has having like kind of sort of character growth, but like is struggling with it a little bit more, which you see then mostly in episode 6 as well.
And the big climax is the Lokis join together to enchant Elias.
Yes.
To defeat it. And they're going to get eaten, but no, they enchant it.
Yes.
And it turns into a portal. Where
because basically they're stronger together if you embrace all aspects of your identity. Okay, so we go into a portal.
And it shows a portal to this castle, basically. And that's where the final episode takes place, which is Exposition, the episode of Exposition, the series. But done in a really cool way.
Yeah.
And it also has a really cool jump scare of Miss Minutes. I don't know if you remember that. But yeah, she jumps out and it's hilarious. Yeah. The whole culmination of this is we're in this citadel and they're going to go find out who's been doing this to the universe all this time. And the doors open and there's a dude sitting there. Jonathan Majors is the actor. And he's been cast as the villain in Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yep.
And so it was moment.
And he did the voices of the Timekeepers.
He did, which was a nice little aside as well. And we sit down and hear him tell his Bond villain story, but like it's not a Bond villain story if you believe him, because he's trying to do the best he can. Anyway, it's very interesting, and he goes for it. Like you meet this guy little less than halfway through the last episode of the series, and he just like chews the scenery like he's dying of hunger.
It's amazing. It's crazy. Like the whole time it's like, what is going on with this guy? But that's the question. So you said if you believe him. So that's the whole question.
Well, of course it's the whole question, and they literally fight about it, whether they should believe him or not.
Yeah.
It's introducing the Thanos replacement for the next phase. But he's Kang. He's one version of Kang the Conqueror, which is a big villain from the comics as well.
Yep.
And what do you think about introducing a major villain like that in a Disney Plus show?
I both love it and might hate it. I'm not sure yet. I think it's fantastic that they did, it's introducing the villain, but it's like a version of the villain. So I think that might be the way that they make that work. I thought what was really cool about these Disney Plus shows when they were first announced was that they like add to the story arc, but they aren't the story arc. So like you could watch them and everything would be enriched or would be developed more, but you didn't need to watch them.
Right. I mean, it is a big time commitment. That's why they have the Legends series on Disney Plus where you can like recap everything you need to know before you watch Black Widow in like 7 minutes.
Exactly. There's so many different facets to the MCU, just the films, and then you bring in these other shows, and it's like, I liked that it was enriching, like a necessity. I mean, we're watching them anyways. Whatever.
Yeah. I think they'll be able to explain it within the confines of an individual movie. They've been good about that so far.
They have been. Well, even this one, when you're trying to figure out, wait, how the heck did Loki get here? They took you back.
Yeah.
And said, this is how it happened. So if they can do that, and because this is a version of Kang the Conqueror, I think it should work. I kind of like having that. Like, I like when that was one of the things I liked about WandaVision, is if you watch it all and you've watched everything and you can take these pieces and things like that, like, it makes you feel smart. So I like that kind of stuff, but I don't know.
Yep.
Did you really like it?
Well, no, I agree with you. Having watched everything, you get to feel a little smarter.
Yeah, I do like that. I always like feeling smart.
Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, no, I like it. I have to see what they do with
that's pretty
the
much
other
it.
movies.
It's hard to say at this point. Right now, I'm like, that's really cool. But here, with it being the big centric villain, that's like a big deal.
I mean, they introduced Thanos with a purple dude looking over his shoulder in a post-credit scene. So
that's very true.
You didn't need to see that. It was just kind of like a, what the heck is that thing? And
I think I actually literally said that to you. So I don't know. I think it's cool, and I like that we're getting some backstory, but we're getting it done in a different way. Like, it's not the character of Kang; it's his other He Who Remains.
Yeah. So anyway, Loki was Exposition the series.
Yep.
I think we both really liked it. I shouldn't speak for you, but
no, I really liked it.
And it was a good way to spend 6 hours.
Absolutely, we highly recommend.
I'm very much now looking forward to the rest of Phase 4, I guess they're still calling it.
We had one other big moment. We didn't get a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Instead, we got Loki will return.
That's true.
In season 2.
So yeah, it is going to have a season 2.
And it's the first one?
The first one, yeah. Both the other 2 series are definitely self-contained.
Yeah. Unless they do something with it later, but
yeah.
For now, self-contained.
And no, that'll be good.
So we have Loki season 2 coming. So that's kind of cool.
At some point.
Question mark as to when, but yes. So that was, instead of a final post-credit scene, that's what we got instead, and that was, so Loki ends up back at the TVA. Sylvie has killed He Who Remains because she doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
And Loki says, but he's kind of like hedging his bets, and he doesn't want to fight Sylvie anymore and things like that. So she kind of betrays him, sort of.
Well, they make out for a little bit, and then she pushes him through a time door back to the TVA.
To like both protect him, but also like, I'm gonna fulfill what I believe my purpose is instead.
Yeah.
And then we get oops, basically.
Well, then you find out it's not the same TVA because
Mobius
doesn't recognize them, and all the statues are different.
Yep. So something's been wonky here, and basically when Sylvie kills He Who Remains, it does what she wanted it to and destroys the TVA, but then we find out, oh, maybe this guy was telling the truth in the first place, because now there's this different version, and we don't know if it's positive or not positive, but it's probably not positive.
Yeah.
Since, villain and all.
We're going into the multiverse of madness, so
that's not great.
Yeah, I don't think madness is the adjective you want to describe your multiverses.
It's not the multiverse of marvelous moments.
Well, there might be one.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's somewhere in the multiverse. So yeah, he shows up and he goes to talk to Mobius and is like, something's happening and blah, blah, blah. He's like, let's go. And he's like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Basically. And then we're left with that giant cliffhanger. Cool. So overall, thumbs up?
Yes. I need it to pay off, though.
That's fair. This one was the one you were most looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it, fulfilled or it all going to depend on the payoff?
It's going to depend on the payoff. It was way different than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have some more time shenanigans.
Yeah.
But instead we got...
Like the D.B. Cooper moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we got just expanding the Marvel Universe instead, which is fine.
Yeah.
Probably needed to happen in some way. But anyway, I liked it. And yeah, wait for that payoff.
Okay. Cool. So I have a couple trivia moments here for you, questions here for you. I only have 2 now.
Yeah.
Because the Jurassic Park one was one of them. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. So to promote the show Loki, a special cereal was released. What was the cereal?
Loki Charms.
You said that with confidence.
It's like Lucky Charms, but instead of a leprechaun is Loki. Yeah.
Leprechauns and Loki are very similar, like the trickster characters.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. And the second question, Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston previously worked together on a movie about time travel. What was the movie?
Wasn't it like Midnight? There was a Woody Allen movie. It was like Midnight in Paris or something like that. Something like that. Okay, I have a trivia question for you then.
Okay.
We talked about the costume design and all that. Sylvie's costume actually had a special enhancement, not for the film, but to make her offset or onset stuff easier.
She had zippers because she was breastfeeding.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. So I've got another one for you. So producer was hired because of his work on a very weird. It was one of the influences, but it's definitely not a happy Disney show. That he became famous for? Do you know what it was?
I remember talking about this, but I don't remember.
It's kind of an adventure comedy. Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's not one of your official questions. Cool. So overall thumbs up, and I guess now we're looking at What If.
And all the other Marvel stuff.
All the Marvel stuff.
Come out in the next 4.5 months.
So question for you. I was most looking forward to WandaVision and then Loki. You were most looking forward to Loki. What's kind of the thing that you're most, is it just in general Marvel, or what are you like, oh, I really want to see what they do with this?
Well, I think the most thing I'm looking forward to is them finally releasing a trailer for Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's going to give you just a little sniff of what they're actually planning. Because there's so many crazy rumors about that movie.
Yeah.
I figure that the trailer won't answer even a quarter of those rumors, but it might give you just a little taste. And
something for people to analyze and go crazy over.
Yeah. But, no, just everything.
Yeah.
Maybe Hawkeye, because I think Hawkeye deserves better.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to have something a little bit more focused on him.
That end credit scene of Black Widow makes me really anxious for Hawkeye, I would say. All right, so that is our episode for this week. Contact us on our social media or through our website to chat, suggest trivia, or say hi. Thanks to El Mule, who's responsible for our awesome custom theme song you heard at the top of the show. You can find a link to his work at our website at disneya.wixsite.com/podcast, and you can also find us on social media. Instagram at disneya.podcast, Facebook at disneya, and Twitter at disneyapodcast. We'd love to hear from you. You can find Disney A episodes on your favorite streaming platforms, like all of them. And also you can listen to our newest episodes on our YouTube channel, Adventures A. We have actual videos up now.
Yeah, gone on some adventures.
Yeah, that's how that happened. Please review our podcast, especially on good old Apple Podcasts. And subscribe. If you know someone who might like this podcast, please recommend Disney A to them. If you write us a review, we'll read it, if it's a good one.
Yeah.
No, I think we'd read any of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as they're legible and
not full of profanity or something like that. Please don't do that. You can also listen to Disney A episodes on Magic of the Mouse Radio Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to Magic of the Mouse Radio on Live 365, MyTuner Radio, Radio Garden, and other radio station apps. Did you know, so the latest thing that they uploaded on Magic of the Mouse Radio is a whole whack of holiday-themed things. So they have they have the soundtrack from some of the Halloween events that they've done and some of the Christmas events they've done. And I'm like, oh man, before you know it, they've talked about Oogie Boogie Bash we just talked about recently. More information is going to be coming out, all the Christmas merch and stuff like that. I said, no, we're still in summer.
Yeah, no. Summer goes by real fast.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you're in the holiday season.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. So we do back to school, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas. That's it.
Yeah.
Join us next week. We're going to chat about Disney and the Olympics. Disney characters. It's going to work.
You know who would be really good at the Olympics?
Who?
Goofy.
100%.
He likes sports.
It's true. There's like a whole series about it.
He's super good at it.
Well. But he's enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Till then, I'm Krysta.
And I'm Brandon.
Till that next adventure, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thanks for listening to Disney A. Something's happening and blah blah. He's like, let's go, and he's like, who the hell are you?